concept idea behind it, all that jazz, that just completely and utterly fucking escapes my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll show you how it works and how you can use it, and by the time we're done, you'll know what's up.
Dude, I should be fucking recording you to rewatch,
I'm
because
recording it.
otherwise
I'll send you the YouTube video.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, I make like private video tutorials for people in the org, so if they join, they can see like get help, because it's a lot of work to try to teach people. But okay, all that being said, paste dominance.
Tell me that later.
Yeah, that's good. So the paste priorities, the rule states that the thing that is paced or placed first is dominant, which means that its vertices are locked. As you can see in this wall, you see the grid on this wall?
Yes.
All of the blocks in this wall are sharing their vertices with each other, okay? And if, for example, I try to place a wedge or something onto the wall, or a diagonal line onto the wall, the diagonal line's vertices will line up to match the vertices on the wall.
Right. Okay, so one thing you should run through me is, how the fuck do you use line tools?
Yeah, I'll show you. I just want to show you the how the dominant and non-dominant thing works first. But the line tool example is the easiest thing. So like I said, now that the wall was placed first, it means that the vertices in the wall are dominant and they're locked, okay? So no matter what I place around the wall, the vertices in the wall will continue to stay how they are right now. So for example, if I place this diagonal piece, it warps. Do you understand? But you see that each of the vertices in the diagonal piece have warped to one of the locked vertices in the wall.
Yes, I have, and I don't know how that happens, but yes, I do.
It's because the wall's dominant, so its vertices are locked together. Now if we, for example, I'm actually going to build a checker wall because it will be a better demonstration. It's going to take just a sec. Because I want to show you how it looks. Alright, so I've got my little checker wall. Now, let's say that instead of placing this wedge piece onto the wall, I take the wall out. So I'm removing the wall, and now I'm going to copy the wedge piece. And I'm going to hold T and scroll it over so that you can see that it's...
oh yeah, T is plain scroll, and you remember that.
Yes. So you can see that it is on the wall like this, but it hasn't warped yet. Now since the diagonal piece here has been placed first, its vertices are dominant, which means when the wall is placed in behind it, then the wall will be forced to warp to the locked vertices of that diagonal piece. So if we grab my checkerboarded wall, and I'm still lagging.
And how far along can this be before the snap in? Does it have to be directly on top of each other, or is there can be a space between? Oh right, no, there can't be a space. There can't be a space between, because spaces between, basically, they don't share vertices, so it doesn't matter. It won't actually snap.
Correct. It does not matter which order you place them in if they're not touching. Now if I place the checker wall, look what happened. The vertices of the wall have warped to fit this diagonal piece. And just to prove to you that it actually works, because it's hard to tell with a checker wall, we'll just build ourselves a wall here. And you can see that it's perfect.
Well, it didn't lock also because, oh wait, no, it did lock.
So they are touching each other, but the seam is perfect between them, and that's because internally, like you saw with that piece of checkerboarded voxel, the wall warps to the diagonal.
Right, but why isn't it changing its vertices? It's still flat.
Well, it is. It's just it's the wall that changes the vertices, not this. Because
right, but the thing is, the wall didn't. Because if you take a look at the checker, wait, hold on, was the checker wall flat also, or was it changed?
Let me explain to you. I will paste this back, and you can see.
No, I know what you mean, but I thought that I saw that the wall warped along the x-axis. I'm sorry, the y-axis as well.
It did not. It's just hard to tell because of the voxel I used. I can't really show you that it didn't warp it, but can you kind of see that?
Okay, I can kind of see it. It's an optical illusion.
But you can see that the blue colored voxel has warped just along the x-axis.
Yeah, no, because the thing is, like, during the middle area, right, where the warping happened, it looked like an optical illusion, so it looked like it came off the wall a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, it does.
But looking at it from the bottom, it looks fine.
Yeah, but because the diagonal was a dominant piece, and I'm just going to emphasize that until you're blue in the face.
I get it now. Like, I've seen those things, I do understand it, I don't have it in my head consistently or constantly, and I don't keep it in my head constantly, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, but you can review the video later, of course. So, just take that back. Now, how about, what would you do if you wanted to put the diagonal piece inside of the wall? So you wanted a 1 voxel thick piece of wall, but you wanted...
Yes, a good question.
But you wanted to see the blue diagonal. So it would look something like this. This is what I have in mind. So they are one voxel apart. And this is a technique that you should remember because you will use it constantly.
Okay.
If I take out my number 7 tool, and keep in mind these rules apply most closely to the number 7 copy and paste tool. You know how to use that, right?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So I'm going to copy a 1 voxel by 3 line, or however many out you feel is comfortable. And watch what happens when I paste it. You see? Because the vertices of the dominant piece, which is the diagonal, are locked, the gray bars are forced to conform to the diagonal.
Right.
And so on and so forth. Now, if I went too far, it would do something like that. But that's what the backspace tool is for. But places that's applicable are like this sign. You can see that the...
What do you mean by flat space tool?
The backspace, it undoes your latest action.
Oh, backspace. I thought you meant flat space. Yeah, okay, backspace, got it.
But this is useful for things like this. Like, I wanted this blue inside of the gold, you know, and how would I do that but like this? You know, and same for these ships. I wanted the blue inside of the gold bars. And, yeah, it's the same idea.
Okay, got it.
So the line tool is a little bit weird. And it's really not the greatest thing to use. However, it can be used when you're in a pinch. I mean, it works. It's just a matter of when it works. So the first thing to know is that yellow means it's probably going to mess up somewhere. Okay?
Okay.
Blue means it's probably going to work. And red means it definitely isn't going to work. Except sometimes it does.
Wow.
Yeah. Now you can hold down your mouse button when you create your line.
Okay, but how do you perfectly select a line? Because every single time I select the goddamn thing, it keeps fucking up.
What do you mean?
Like, it never actually selects the element or voxel perfectly. It keeps selecting like an area around it or some shit. I hold down the...
I'm just holding my mouse down and dragging. That's weird. That's a bug.
Oh, you did say it works when it works.
Yeah.
It doesn't work when it doesn't work.
Yeah, there's a few bugs with this. Yeah, it's not supposed to do that. I might report that. Yeah, I don't usually use the line tool, but you can when you're a pinch. My favorite thing to use is this. It's a 1x angle set. So, like, you've got a 1x1 angle, a 1x2 angle, a 1x3, a 1x all the way up to however many that is. See what I'm saying? So if you wanted an angle, you could just use these instead of the line tool.
Right.
However, with some basic trigonometry, you can use the line tool as well, you know. If you wanted a 45-degree angle, then your base length and your height length would be the same. See what I'm saying? And if you wanted a 30-degree angle, you would do like 3 on the base, 4 on the height, and then you'd get a 30-degree angle or something.
Right.
So just some math to figure out that if you don't have the angle set, I highly recommend you get one of those. You can come to my base and get it if you want.
Yeah. Where's your base though? It's not on Alioth, right?
No, this is Alioth.
Oh, really?
Down here, South Pole. We like the South Pole.
Yeah. PM me the chords then, I guess, sometime out. Probably not today, but I'll get it soon-ish.
Yeah, if I don't do it, I'll forget. Yeah.
Once I go over there, though, the only way to get that is you need to give me a temporary access to build and copy, I think,
Yeah,
right?
pretty much. Now, I can show you the basic idea of a reactor with my light turned off. The easiest way to build the reactor base is start with 1 voxel, go out 3, and go back 3. And then you can just cut the pieces out. You can copy the top of the reactor.
How did you cut that? How did you cut it out like that?
How did I cut it out?
Yeah.
You know about alt click, right?
Oh, so you held Alt when deploying, and then you just dragged.
I clicked, but then I could drag after I clicked, depending on how far it is. Now, if I hold Alt and I drag, I can define this direction, and then if I hold Alt, if I let go of Alt and continue moving my mouse, then I define this direction. All I have to do is click again and it deletes.
Right. Okay. I forgot about the Alt. I know about it, but I forgot about it.
Good. So you can see in this case.
And how did you put in the center? You did the T plane tool. You went onto. I saw that you went onto the bottom right.
Plane.
Yeah.
I held
and
T
then you planed it over.
Yep.
Right. So how do you define which plane it is? Like, because I thought T would. Is it the first movement you do?
It's the plane you're looking at.
Oh, the thing is.
So, like, if I'm looking at this plane, it's defined at this plane. If I'm looking at this plane, it's defined there. You see that? If I'm looking from the top, it's on this plane.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you just gotta mess around with it a bit and you'll get it. And then, you know, I can just change the y-axis of the plane by scrolling.
Right.
Yeah, but okay, so the basic idea of a reactor like this is that all of the vertices of the cube in the middle are locked, as you might call it, by the bigger cube on the outside.
Right.
So now if I took out a cube on the outside, then this vertex is no longer locked, and if I wanted to manipulate it, I could. That did not work. What the heck? That's not supposed to happen. They might have messed up the... There we go. I must have just clicked it wrong. You can't even see that!
Barely see that, but yes.
Let's try with this color. But you see what that did. So when I smoothed it pushed that vertex into it.
What happens if you smooth multiple times?
It just continues to get smoother. You can see that it never actually unlocks the vertices from these.
Is that how you make a corner piece?
Yeah, this is one of the ways. But this piece, for example, if it doesn't collapse when I place it, yeah, see, it's kind of smoothed the middle into it. But, however, it actually happens to match up with this one. That didn't work quite as well. I smoothed it too many times. It should have been smoothed once. I can't.
Yeah, so if you smooth it once, what happens?
Well, it normally works. I'll try it again and see what happens. I don't use the reactor very often at all, believe it or not. I don't think it's very useful.
From what I hear, it's godly.
It's godly when you know how to use it. Yeah, this might not work the way it's supposed to. There, that time it did.
Not really.
Yeah, not really.
I think
it's not supposed to do that. There's currently a bug that's causing parts that you copy to collapse differently, and sometimes when you backspace it, yeah, see how it was. See how I'll undo that. See how when I backspaced it, it didn't come out right. It's not supposed to do that. So that's why I don't use it.
That looks perfect. Like, that actually looks perfect when those two pieces are there.
Yeah, like it, and see, like in the copy bin, it, see how it changes like that?
Keep in mind your resolution, because Discord is funny and it's great. It doesn't do it perfectly.
So you can see that's probably the piece you need, isn't it? The one in the middle.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. You could do the same. See, I'm not very good with Reactor. You could do the same method of pasting something in the middle and trying to smooth it down until it was flat. And then you would copy it out and then paste it in between the wedge. And then it would conform to the wedge. But yeah, it's I actually can't grab that piece. There it is. Let's see what it turns into. Yeah, see, that's the bug is continuing to happen, unfortunately. We'll try to put it between the edges and see what it does. There is also an aspect of building where you have to be diligent about knowing what the what you can and can't do at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works. Yours was the other direction, wasn't it?
Yeah, basically mine's is a box, but box that opens inward or something.
Yeah, I was looking at that and I was like, that doesn't look quite right. Let's see. I doubt it'll be as nice. Oh, it is. Okay, that worked. Now we could even go one farther here. Let's see what this does.
Yeah, basically that's it. Like
Yeah. Now we've got a little... This is even a little reactor for the block we place in the middle. Yeah, perfect.
Oh, fuck. Oh,
Yeah, and there it is. So what I did, if you were to break down how that actually worked, I made this piece, and I knew, although it wasn't perfect, that this edge was, right?
Right.
So I put the pieces into the shape that would make something similar to what you were looking for, and using the smooth tool, I smashed down the vertex of the blue voxel to the plane that it was supposed to be on, right? Now when I copied it, you can see that although the plane is right, like the front face is correct, it's sticking out around the edges of the triangle.
Right. But that doesn't matter because once you paste it into there, it changes the vertices around.
Yeah, do you know why that is? It's because these gray blocks were pasted first.
Right.
Yeah, so that the blue voxel was forced to go into the shape of the gray voxel.
Right.
I'm gonna go ahead and save this because people.
That's actually
it's like the most common piece to need.
Well, one of the more common pieces, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. But that's how you can do the reactor, and you can just kind of go until it. You can. There's so much stuff you can do. I'll fly you over here maybe and show you what a 32-bit set looks like for reactors, but that's way above my level.
What do you mean 32-bit set?
Like you could interface it with a computer to make the shape you want. It's still over here, right? Yeah, here it is. So this is just a heck of a lot of those pieces I just made. And depending on where you select your pieces from on the
Jesus fucking Christ.
Depends on the shape of the block you make. So you can say he's made some reactors over here. They're just a bunch of offset, like 1/16 blocks.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, that's how far you can go with stuff like this. All the way until it becomes ridiculous, to say the least.
It's a huge library.
Yeah, no, I don't use that stuff. It's not worth my time. Like, maybe...
So what's the difference in... So let me ask, medium aileron and compact medium aileron. What's the difference in normal and compact ailerons?
They're like the same length, but they're a different width. So like the compact aileron is half the width of the medium aileron.
Right, stat-wise.
It's like half.
There's a different stats, basically.
Yes. Different size, different stat. I think it's about half. I don't remember. What else was I going to show you? Microvoxels, and we can use this angle piece here. Now the smooth tool has that's a little bit much. Let's try something simpler first. You can use when a warp happens in a voxel. You don't want the warp to exist, and if you use the smooth tool to try to smooth the warp out, oftentimes it makes it worse. And that is because the area that your smooth tool has to contact should be large, okay? Like your entire smooth tool circle should be inside of one single plane. So let's say I wanted to make like maybe a circle. I could start with the cylinder tool. And then you'd say, oh, well, you'll just...
I actually need to know this also, because what I want to do is I want to make a circle, but...
Well, they actually
I want to make a ship. I want to make a ship barrel, per se. What? What happened?
This is better. It used to cut out and it used to be wavy. It is a little bit. I'll still show you what the technique is. But so anyway, I've made a cylinder. I've scaled down another cylinder, just held Alt and clicked to delete.
Oh, right. Fucking Alt delete. I need to remember that shit.
Yeah.
I really need to remember that shit.
Yeah, I'll show you again. See my screen?
Sure. How do you center it though?
And move around. But see, I've just clicked Alt. I'm holding Alt and then I just click to delete it. That's all I do. Now, most of the time, this ends up not nearly this nice, but you can see that there's still some rough edges. And there's a little trick to fix that, believe it or not. And this same trick you can apply to a lot of different things, but it's most obvious with circles. If I make a cylinder that is the size of my smooth tool, I can take my smooth tool around the central axis and just click around.
Just what? Hold on, because you're going robot.
So I'm just taking my smooth tool along the central axis of the cylinder and just clicking around. And since the smooth tool is smaller than the plane of the cylinder, then it actually works and it doesn't mess stuff up.
Oh, and then you delete the top and bottom of the cylinder afterwards, right?
Yeah, that's right. So what I'm doing in effect is I'm pushing the little imperfections out away from the center.
Right?
It's hard to tell on this because it's actually
also
pretty good to begin with, but
keep in mind also Discord right now, the thing is really no, it's just Discord itself, because unless you're nitro, they fuck your bandwidth and it's never 1080.
Is that any better?
So it goes to 240. No, because Discord bandwidth, like you can't stream at 1080 or 720 or some shit.
You can kind of see how that worked. You can kind of see how it pushed the warps out away from the middle.
Because if you're not nitro, it locks it to like 480 or something.
That's stupid. Oh, I'm sorry you have to deal with that.
Whatever. I mean, I'm used to it. It's whatever.
Although,
because I'm sure you're recording, recording at a higher resolution, right? So I just look at the thing.
So although the circle that I made to begin with was pretty good, I just like it was acceptably good. I did this to begin with just to show you what the technique looks like. So now I'm placing my newly smoothed circles into a stack of 3. And that will smooth out the middle circle, because as you can see now the edges of the circle are kind of tapered. And at the end of all of that, you get a circle that is in every possible way better than the one you placed, but you can't tell because it actually worked like really well first try. If that was smaller though, this would be a really useful thing to do. But yeah, that's how you make nice circles, given they're 2 blocks thick, which is kind of a downside. There's you would have to use the reactors to individually make a non-2 block thick circle, and no one wants to do that. So there's a library for it, which you can get.
Where's the library?
There's a library for 1 block circles. This is a 2 block circle, it's kind of thick. There's a 1 block circle library, but 1 block circles are way harder to build.
Where's the library? That's what I meant.
It is on Tioma.
Oh right, Voxel library, right?
Yep. Now the smooth tool, which you just saw me use, has an alternate functionality, and that functionality is called the pinch tool. When you hold Alt and you smooth, it pulls the vertices to where you're looking.
Wait, so, okay, no wonder, I see. So what is the other one? So how do you use the other one then? Number 4 tool.
Don't. There is a...
Do I forget that this exists?
There is a reason
should I forget this tool exists?
There is a reason to use it. It's a technique I call smooth molding. It's not actually called smooth molding. I have no idea what it's actually called, but it's what I call it. The area smooth tool can be used to smooth certain sections of the block you want in like a if you want to call it predictable kind of fashion. So if I, for example, took this assembly here and selected it with the Area Smooth tool, you'll see that the points on the nose of it will blunt as I click. Oh, it didn't. Oh, I know why it didn't. I'm a terrible teacher. We gotta do these two. Like if you wanted to make a low effort is an understatement engine cowl, this is how you would do it.
Engine cowl?
See, I never use this technique, I hope I can. Like a covering for a space engine. See how I blunted it?
Oh.
Look what we've created.
Oh my god.
But yeah, that's...
God, a fucking dildo. Okay.
That is the only use, in my opinion, of the Area Smooth tool.
So fucking forget it exists. Got it.
Yeah, it's like some people can make stuff look cool with it. I don't know how. Because like it's ridiculous, to be honest with you. What am I doing? I'm not thinking. The regular smooth tool is much more useful. So like I was saying, if you hold Alt on this smooth tool and you click, it pulls the vertices to where you're looking.
Right.
So that is useful for multiple reasons, and one of those reasons is microvoxels, which you might have heard that term before. So if I do a smoothing pattern
actually, no.
like that...
Surprisingly, no I didn't.
So I'm pinching the corner voxels into one vertex right there in the middle at like the midpoint of this line. Messed up. Like that. You can see that it smashes together and makes a little plane.
I do.
Little thin little plane. People a lot smarter than me have designed algorithms and different methods you can use with a checker wall and the pinch tool to make basically any block you want. And that giant cube over there of reactors was generated like this, by someone meticulously and painstakingly doing patterns with their smooth tool. And like, if you want 1 degree less on the angle, you smooth 1 time less,
Jesus.
for example. And like, that's how that's done. And it's really complicated. And I assure you I don't want to do it, and neither do you.
Well, can I copy it?
These planes are like super useful.
Yeah.
And with the correct use of them, like see these wings on this ship? It's just a little plane. Like I built that like that, yeah.
So how much space? So do you know how much space behind an aileron it needs to be before there's no obstruction? Because
it's a long way.
I'm getting like
it is possible.
I'm getting obstructions on ailerons. I'm like, how?
Well, don't cover them.
I'm trying to cover.
Show you another thing. You can have 2 block reactors. That's not what I wanted to do. If, for example, I smooth these into a triangle, I can paste another plane between them and make a bar like this. Now, if you wanted to make, let's say, a pyramid, you could take the bar and paste it into the piece like that, and you can see how the voxel's locked. And then you can use this piece for like a billion things, depending on what your goal is.
My goal is information overload. Not even shitting. Holy fuck, information overload time.
But with this trick, like using a bar and pasting it onto a square like that is literally how I built this entire ship. And like most of the top, some of this I stole, but we won't talk about that. But like entirely, the wings were built out of just pasting bars onto squares. I showed you how that worked. Now Vox expand as well. You can see how they get thinner. They will also get bigger. You can have up to, I believe, a 5x5 area taken up by one voxel.
How do you make them bigger?
Now look at this piece. See how that's 1/2 block larger?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's an example of how you make it bigger. You can continue to do the same stunt. You can build the checkerboarded wall out of this 1/2 expanded piece, and then do the exact same thing again, and you'll get it expanded another half. That's a really meticulous way of continuing to expand it. I've seen other ways done where you can make like a pyramid and use like a really sharp point on a pyramid to expand a block. But I'm not going to bother because there's a lot of work up to making a nice expanded voxel, whether you like it or not, and it would take less time to fly and go get the expanded voxel library.
Yeah, that's the same thing. I'm like,
It's like, oh, you want a cool wall paneling? Well, I've got you. You know, things you create in the reactors, you can just use them in everyday life for something cool.
Yep.
Like that. Like, you could totally make a hallway out of that. Oh, look, a little hallway. A ship corridor. But yeah. That's most of the stuff I know. I can't really think of anything else to show you. Can you think of anything, or do you have any questions?
Dude, I don't know yet. I'll figure it out when I have questions. You're asking me shit that I'm like, well, I have questions.